guys, welcome back to my After Effects tutorial channel. This is Rhandz from Rhandz Graphix, and in this tutorial we will be creating this. Let me start by creating a new composition, and I will name it placeholder 1. (1920 by 1080p, 30 frames per second and 6 seconds duration). Click OK. I will open my project assets, go to image, expand it, and drop this photo down into the timeline. Press S on your keyboard for the scale and scale it down to 36%. Press P on your keyboard for the position, drag it up. Then go to composition and create a new composition. I will name it Parallax Construct. (1920 by 1080p, 30 frames per second and the duration is 6 seconds). Click OK. Then I will drop this placeholder 1 into the timeline. Press my keyboard Ctrl D to duplicate it. Disable the visibility of this bottom. Then I will toggle switches in here. Make both of them 3D layer. Then go to Shape tool. Choose this ellipse tool. Double click it to create a mask. Then I will change the color code here to cyan. Also this mask, I will change it to cyan so that it will be the same. Then expand the mask, go to mask feather, change this to 150, and then the add, change this to subtract. Highlight it again and press P on your keyboard for the position and change the position here to -50. Press my keyboard Ctrl D to duplicate it, change the color code here to fuchsia. Open the mask and change also the color here. Pick this color picker, choose this color, click OK. Press P on your keyboard for the position, change the Z position to -300. Press Ctrl D to duplicate it. Change the color code here to brown. Expand the layer, go to mask, change also the color code on the mask. Just take this color picker and choose this color, close it. Press P on your keyboard for the position and change this to -500. Ctrl D on your keyboard to duplicate it. Expand this layer and the mask, expand it. Change the color code here to orange, and also this one, change this to orange. Close it. Highlight it again and press P on your keyboard for the position. Change this Z position to -750. I will highlight this composition again and press my keyboard Ctrl D, duplicate it. Change the color code here to purple. Open it, expand the mask, choose this color. Press P on your keyboard for the position, change the Z position to -1000. Again, I will highlight it and press my keyboard Ctrl D to duplicate it. Change the color code here to green. Expand this composition, delete the mask, zoom out, and then move this placeholder on the left side. Make sure that it's plus on this corner, close it. Press Ctrl D again to duplicate it and change the color code here to blue. I will drag this one on the right side. Then I will highlight this placeholder 1 and press my keyboard Ctrl D to duplicate it. Change the color code here to seafoam. Drag it up. And again, I will highlight this placeholder and Ctrl D on my keyboard to duplicate it. Change the color code here to pitch. I'll just speed it up, guys, okay, so that you'll not wait for long. Now as you can see, this is what we have done. Then go to layer, create a new null object and make this a 3D layer, and I will not do anything in here. So I will go to composition, create a new composition, and I will name it text 1. 1920 by 200 pixels, 30 frames per second, and the duration is 6 seconds. Click OK. I will zoom it in, and then I will grab this text tool and type ink elements. Then I will center it and go to the size of the font. I'll just change this to 100. By the way, I'm using Roboto and the color is white. I will align it again to the center. Then I will go to composition, create a new composition. I will name it text 2. 1920 by 200 pixels, 30 frames per second, and 6 seconds duration. Click OK. I will again grab my text tool, type Parallax Slideshow. I will set this font size to 48. And I will go to my project panel and drop down this color guide into the timeline. I will just drag it here. Then I will highlight the Parallax Slideshow. Take this color picker and choose this cyan color. Disable the visibility of my color guide. Go to Align tool, center it horizontally and vertically. Now go to Composition, create a new composition. I will name it Transition Vertical. (1920 by 1080p), 30 frames per second and 6 seconds duration. Click OK. Then I will open my footage. I will drop down this matte vertical into the timeline, and temporarily I will just drop down this placeholder. Then I will toggle switches in here. I will change this to Silhouette Luma. Let's see. That is what we want. Okay. So I will just disable this placeholder because this is just temporary. I will again go to composition. I will name it Transition Vertical Out. (1920 by 1080p), 30 frames per second and 6 seconds duration. Then I will go to my project panel and drop down this Transition Vertical into the timeline. Then temporarily again, I will drop down this placeholder 1 into the timeline. Then I will toggle switches modes in here. Then I will change the blending mode here to Stencil Loma. Preview it. That is what we want. Then I will go to composition, create a new composition. I will name it Dust Particles. The width is 3000 and the height is 3000 pixels. Same duration and frames. Click OK. I will zoom it out. Then I will open this texture, drop down this dust one into the timeline. Press S on my keyboard for the scale, then scale it up. Go to layer, create a new solid. The color is white, click OK. Move it down and go to Effects and Preset. Go to Noise and Grain, Fractal Noise. Set the contrast to 2000, the evolution to 34. Then make sure that your playhead is at the beginning of your timeline. Then create a keyframe on the evolution by hitting the stopwatch. Then move your playhead to the end of the timeline. Make this evolution to 54 degrees. Then I will go to Effects and Preset. I will add Blur and Sharpen, Fastbox Blur. Then go back again to Effects and Preset, Color Correction 10. Then I will go back to my project panel and drop down this color guide into the timeline. Just drag this up into the left corner of our canvas and go back to Effects Control. Highlight this white solid. I will set the blur radius to 53 and the iterations 1. Change the color map block to FF00D2. Click OK. Pick this color picker and choose this orange color. Change the track matte on the white solid Luma inverted matte. Disable the visibility of this color guide. Press T on your keyboard. Make sure that your playhead is at the 5 frames. Create a keyframe here by hitting this stopwatch and make this opacity 0. Then go to 1 second and 5 frames. Then make this opacity 100%. Move your playhead to about 4 seconds and 15 frames. Create a keyframe here by hitting this tiny diamond icon and move your playhead to about 5 seconds and change this opacity to 0. Then go to composition and create a new composition. I will name it media. 1920 by 1080p, 30 frames per second and 6 seconds duration. Click OK. I will zoom it in. I will go to my project panel and drop down this parallax construct into the timeline. I will go back to my parallax construct here. I will enable the visibility of the placeholder 1 below. And go back again to media. Toggle switches modes in here. Enable this collapse transformation switch. Go to layer, create a new null object. Enable the 3D layer in here. Open the solids. Change the name to Z-scale. Then I will highlight this Z-scale, press S on my keyboard for the scale, and make sure that the playhead is at the beginning of your timeline and create a keyframe here by hitting the stopwatch. Set the value on the scale to 98%. Then move your playhead to the end of the timeline. Then set the value here to 100%. Then I will parent this parallax construct to the Z-scale. And go to layer and create a new adjustment layer. Go to effects and preset, go to stylize, glow. I will set the glow here to 39.6. The glow radius, I will change this to 50. And the glow intensity, I will set the value here to 0.2. Then go to layer and create a new camera. I'm just using a custom camera, click OK. Go to layer and I will create a new null object. I will name it rotation. I will enable the 3D layer here. Parent the camera to the rotation. Press R on my keyboard for the rotation and make sure that my playhead is at the beginning of the timeline. Click the stopwatch here to create a keyframe and change the value on the Y rotation to -15. Move the playhead to the end of the timeline and change the value to 15 degrees. Then I will go to layer again and create a new null object. This time I will name it in out. I will open this solid, rename this null to in out. Close it. Then I will enable the 3D layer here. Press P on your keyboard for position and Shift S for the scale. Then I will change the value on the X position to 563. Then the scale, I will change this to 138. Then I will hit the stopwatch here to create a keyframe on the position. And on the scale, be sure that your playhead is at the beginning of your timeline. Move your playhead to the end of your timeline. Change the value on the scale to 100%. And on the position on the x-axis, change this to 647. Parent the rotation to the in and out null object. Then I will create a new null object and I will just do nothing on it. Go to my project asset and open this texture. I will highlight this dust one and drop it down to the timeline. Pre-compose it. I'll just name it dust one. Move all the attributes into the new composition. Click OK. Then I will enable the 3D layer here. Press P on my keyboard for the position. Change the value in the Z position to -1500. Then again, I will go to my project panel and drop down this dust to PNG into the timeline. I will right away pre-compose it. and I will name it dust 2. Move all the attributes into the new composition. Click OK. Enable the 3D layer. Press P on your keyboard for the position, and I will change this Z position to -1000. Then close it. Go to the project panel and drop down this transition vertical into the timeline. Then enable the collapse transformation switch in here. Then go back to your project panel and drop down this placeholder. Disable this placeholder. Go to your project panel, highlight this text one, and drop it down to your timeline. Enable the 3D layer. Press P on your keyboard for the position, Shift S for the scale, and Shift R for the rotation. I will change the Y rotation here to -51. I will change the Y position to 650. Change the Y position to 636. Then the Z position, change this to -700. The scale, change this to 70. Go to your project panel and drop down this text 2 into the timeline. Enable the 3D layer. Press P on your keyboard for position, Shift S for the scale, and Shift R for the rotation. Change the X position to 600. The Y position 745. And the Z position, change this to -602. Change the Y rotation to -51. Close it. Highlight both layers. Move your player to about 20 frames. Press open bracket key to move those layers. There you go. Now go to project panel and drop down these dust particles into the timeline and enable the collapse transformation switch here. Open these dust particles. Go to transform. Enable 3D layer. Change the position to -980.3. Then the scale, change this to 67. I think that should be good enough. I'll just go back to the dust 1 and 2. Press T on my keyboard for the opacity. I'll just change this to 25%. Just close it. Then go back to your project panel and drop down this transition vertical out into the timeline, and go your play to about 5 seconds. Press open bracket key to move that layer. Enable the collapse transformation here. Let's preview this. Nice. So now I'm gonna go to my project panel and create a new folder, and I will name it scene 1. Then I will highlight these compositions, drag it to the scene 1 folder, and also these compositions. I will highlight the media and rename it. I will just add 1. Then I will again create a new folder and I will name it scene 2. I will highlight these compositions, go to edit and duplicate it. I will drag these compositions to the scene 2 folder, close the scene 1, open the scene 2. I will just double click the compositions that I want to change. So I will open the placeholder 2 and go to my assets folder, open the image and drop this image down into the timeline. Delete this previous image, press S on my keyboard for the scale. I'll just scale it down. Then open the Parallax construct 2, highlight it, press on your keyboard Alt and hold it, and replace this placeholder 1 by placeholder 2. As you can see, it has already been changed. So now I'm gonna go to the transition out, open it up. I will press Alt and hold it, and I will go to my project panel and open this footage. I will change this trans vertical to trans horizontal. Then I will also highlight this transition vertical 2, highlight the matte vertical 1, then I will change it to matte horizontal 1. Open the media. I will highlight this parallax construct and go to my project panel, and I will drop down this parallax construct 2 to replace the parallax construct. Dust 1, I will change it to dust 3. Although they are just the same because I don't tweak it, I just want to change it so that later on when we change it, it will not affect our scene 1. This transition vertical, I'll change the name to transition horizontal. So I will right click my mouse and rename this transition horizontal. Transition vertical out, I want to change it to transition horizontal out too. So now I will open the dust particles too. Expand this transform. I will change some settings in here. I will change first the Y rotation to -64. Then the scale, I will change this to 82. And the position, I will change this to 910 on the x-axis. On the Z position, I will change this to -948. Preview it. Move our playhead probably 4 seconds. I want to move this image on the left side. I will open the rotation, click Q on your keyboard to see the keyframes and move your playhead at the beginning. Change this -15 to -12. Then move forward your playhead at the end of the timeline and change the +15 to +12. Let's preview this. Nice. So now I will go to composition and create a new composition. I will name it final. 1920 by 1080p and the duration will be 15 seconds. Click OK. Drop down this media 2 into the timeline. Then I will close it. I will also drop down this media 1 into the timeline. Go my play to about 5 seconds duration. Highlight this media 2 and press open bracket key to move that layer. Let's preview this. So this is what we have now. So guys, our tutorial is done and I hope that you learned from it. For those people who subscribe my channel, thank you very much. And for those who have not yet subscribed, hit the button subscribe below and press like, comment, share it to your friends and press the notification bell so that you will be notified in case I have videos to upload. And my thoughts for today guys is that if you intend to work hard in order to be creative, just continue, don't stop and work hard silently because later on success will make a noise for you. Thank you guys for watching my videos and see you next time. God bless.